Round of 32. England against DR Congo. Congo score in the 7th minute, and for the next 15 minutes, England do not touch the ball inside the Congolese box. Not once. 0 touches, 0 shots on goal. 15 minutes of one of the most expensive squads on the planet doing absolutely nothing. Then the referee blows his whistle. Not for a foul, not for a goal. For water, 3 minutes. The players walk to the touchline. They drink. They walk back. Same 11 players, same pitch, same scoreline, same opponent, same tactics, same everything. And after that whistle, England take 8 shots and 20 touches inside Congo's box before halftime. Now, the obvious explanation is that the water break killed Congo's momentum. That's what the internet said all summer. That's what the pundits said. And I need to tell you right at the start that the best statistical work done on this tournament says that explanation is wrong. But here's why you're going to stay. It's wrong in a way that is so much worse for smaller nations than the version everybody was angry about. There's a single number that proves it. Plus 1.6. It arrives at minute 9, and once you see what it measures, you will never watch a drinks break the same way again. If you like tactics explained with actual sources instead of vibes, subscribe. This channel is built on that. Let's start with what the rule actually says, because most people arguing about it have never read it. For the 2026 World Cup, FIFA made hydration breaks mandatory. 3 minutes, roughly the 22nd minute of each half, in every single one of the 104 matches. Not when it's hot, not when the referee decides. Always. That last part is the part nobody expected. It didn't matter whether the stadium had a roof. It didn't matter whether the air conditioning was running. It didn't matter if the game kicked off at night in Vancouver. Whistle at 22, 3 minutes, drink. And there is a detail buried in the announcement that almost nobody reported. The clock doesn't stop. Those 3 minutes get added to stoppage time at the end of the half. So the game didn't get shorter. It got split. Split into 4 pieces. 2 halves became 4 quarters. And that is not a small thing. That is the single biggest structural change to how a football match is shaped in the modern era. And it was introduced as a health measure in a press release at a broadcasters meeting. Which brings us to the question that this entire video is really about. Not, is it hot in Dallas? The question is, what happens to a sport when you give it a timeout? Think about every other major team sport on Earth. Basketball has timeouts. American football has timeouts. Volleyball, handball, ice hockey, all of them let a coach stop the world and talk. Football is the outlier. For 150 years, football has had exactly one scheduled break, and it happens at 45 minutes, and everything before it, you have to survive on your own. That is not a bug in the design. That is the design. Because think about what it means for a small team. If you're the underdog and you have 20 minutes where everything works, the press is landing, the crowd is roaring, the favorite is rattled. Nobody can stop it. The rich team cannot call timeout. They cannot gather at the sideline and get shown a diagram. They have to survive you in real time, with a manager screaming into the wind from 40 meters away. That 20-minute window is the underdog's entire weapon. It's the only thing they have that money can't buy. FIFA just took that weapon and put a 3-minute pause in the middle of it. Twice. In every match. For free. And don't take my word for that. Take theirs. Because the most incriminating evidence in this entire story isn't a statistic. It's the coaches, on camera, in official press conferences, describing exactly what they were doing with those 3 minutes. Roberto Martinez, Portugal's manager, said the break changes how the staff work 3 minutes to make adjustments. Didier Deschamps, before France's opener, described it as 2 extra opportunities to fix whatever went wrong in the previous 22 minutes. Carlo Ancelotti said you can explain a problem and make a tactical adjustment. Ronald Koeman admitted coaches use the pause to tell players what to improve. And then there's Murat Yakin, the Switzerland manager, who said the quiet part out loud. After the second break, they'd change a few things, because then the opponent can't react immediately. Read that again. The value of the break isn't the water. The value is that you get to adjust and they don't get to respond. That's not a hydration policy. That's a chess clock where only one player is allowed to think. And it wasn't universal. This is important because I'm not here to tell you every manager loved it. Mauricio Pochettino, coaching the United States, said flatly that it cuts the rhythm of the game and that he only likes it in extreme conditions. But even he was photographed in a pre-tournament friendly against Senegal, gathering his players around a laptop on the bench during a drinks break. A laptop, on the touchline, mid-half, in a football match. So the accusation formed fast, and the numbers seemed to back it. In 8 of the first 16 matches of the tournament, somebody scored within 10 minutes of a hydration break. That's from Yahoo Sports, tracking the opening week. ESPN went further and pulled the shot data. Brazil against Morocco. Before the break, Morocco had 7 shots worth 0.9 expected goals. After it, 5 shots worth 0.3. Brazil equalized 6 minutes later. Canada against Bosnia. Bosnia's score, the break comes immediately after, and Canada's shots go from 1 to 5, while their touches in the opposition box go from 4 to 17. Japan's equalizer against the Netherlands came after the second half break, with 2 shots before and 5 after. And then Opta's data, analyzed by the Times, put a number on the whole group stage. 32% of matches showed an above-average swing in momentum after the first half break, 26% after the second. Case closed, right? The break kills momentum, the small teams suffer. FIFA sells ads. That's a good video. That's the video everybody else made. It's also not what happened. Before I show you why, tell me in the comments where you stand right now. Is a scheduled water break a health rule or a free timeout? Answer before you hear the rest. I want to see how many of you change your mind by the end. Because when the analysts at Opta looked at the whole tournament instead of the highlights, they found something inconvenient. Yes, there were matches that seemed to turn on a break, but there were far more that showed no change at all. Momentum in football swings constantly. Games open up as halves go on. Legs get tired. Substitutes come on. If you go looking for a break at minute 22 to explain a goal at minute 28, you will always find one, because there is always a break at minute 22. And then somebody did the experiment properly. In July, a statistician named Debangande published a paper analyzing 99 matches of this World Cup, using a design that compares each match against itself, the minutes with a break, measured against the minutes without one, in the same game, same teams, same everything. It's the cleanest test anyone has run on this question. The finding: the dominant side's momentum decays at essentially the same rate whether the break happens or not. The fade you think you're seeing? It was going to happen anyway. Momentum reverts through the stoppage as if play had simply continued. So I was wrong. The internet was wrong. The pundits were wrong. The break does not kill momentum, which means I owe you the real answer. And the real answer is the reason this video exists, because the same paper found something else. The average effect across all matches was small, near zero, but the effects were not the same in every situation. And the clearest, strongest modifier, the study found the only interaction that came back statistically significant was team strength. Here's the number. The effect of the break shifts by about plus 1.6 momentum points for every 100 ELO rating points of advantage in favor of the stronger side, against the weaker side that happened to be on top at that moment. Sit with that for a second, because it's the whole story. The break does not stop momentum. The break moves it. It takes the pressure that a weaker team had built with 20 minutes of running, and it hands it to whoever has the better squad and the better staff. The stronger you are, the more a pause is worth to you. And there's a second study that lands the same punch from the other side. Professor Brennan Klein and his team at Northeastern University analyzed the first 100 matches of the tournament in work reviewed by the BBC World Service. They found more goals than expected in the 5 minutes after a break, and here's the part that matters. Not because teams took more shots, because they took better ones, closer to goal, from more dangerous positions. Same number of attempts, better attempts. That is not fatigue. That is not thirst. That is coaching. So let's talk about what 3 minutes actually buys, tactically, and why it isn't worth the same to everyone. A well-resourced national team arrives at that whistle with a plan already written. There's an analyst in the stand with live footage. There's a tablet on the bench. There's a pre-prepared menu of adjustments for exactly this scenario, drawn up weeks ago. So in 3 minutes, they can change the pressing triggers, switch who marks the dangerous man, push the fullbacks 10 meters higher, move a defensive midfielder into the right back slot, which is precisely what Tuchel did to England against Congo, mid-half, without using a substitution. Now here's what a smaller federation does with those same 3 minutes. They drink water. And that's the asymmetry. It was never about talent. Momentum, for an underdog, is perishable. It depends on continuity, noise, adrenaline, and the fact that nobody can stop it. A plan for a favorite is storable. It just needs a window to be delivered through. FIFA created 2 windows per match. 104 matches, 208 windows. And people paid for them. Uruguay against Saudi Arabia. The Times identified the second half break in that match as the single largest momentum swing of the entire group stage. Uruguay equalized in the 80th minute. Had Saudi Arabia held that 1-0 lead, they'd have gone through to a rematch with Argentina. Jordan, in their first World Cup ever, were level at 1-1 with Austria and level at 1-1 with Algeria, when the second half whistle went both times. Morocco were dominating Brazil until the first half pause let Ancelotti reorganize. Equalizer shortly after, 1-1. None of those results are proof. I want to be precise because this channel doesn't do fake certainty. Those are individual matches, and individual matches are noisy. But the pattern they form is exactly the pattern the strength effect predicts, which leaves the uncomfortable part. Estimates put the new advertising inventory created by these breaks at around $250 million for Fox in the United States, including $8 million for 30 seconds during the final. FIFA allowed broadcasters to run commercials in the gap. Gianni Infantino has stated there is no additional revenue for FIFA from the breaks. I'm not going to tell you what to conclude from those 3 sentences sitting next to each other. You can do that yourself. And I should be fair about the other side because the heat is real. FIFPro. The Players' Union had been asking for more breaks and longer intervals on medical grounds. Players collapsed in the heat at the Club World Cup. Nobody serious is arguing that footballers should cook in a stadium in Texas in June. But there's a difference between protecting players and restructuring a sport. Football spent a century and a half as the one major team game where a losing coach could not stop the clock and talk. That wasn't an oversight. That was the thing that made an underdog's 20 good minutes genuinely dangerous. FIFA didn't kill momentum. FIFA just made sure momentum now belongs to whoever has the better staff. If that reframed how you see the last World Cup, hit the like button. It's the only thing that tells the algorithm to show this to people who'd argue about it. And watch the leagues. The Premier League is back, and it's only a matter of time before somebody asks for the same rule. Next video, 43 goals came off the bench in the group stage alone. The starting 11 is dying, and nobody's written the obituary.